Hello, writers. I hope you are ready for our writing lesson today. So, we are going to be really talking about what good writers do. So, Monday, we talked about our writers' expectations during workshop, right? We talked about kind of what the teacher versus the student is supposed to do. And we said that during writing workshop, the student's job, they have one big job, and that is during mini lesson when I'm teaching, they're sitting and listening, and during independent writing, they're writing. That is our big job. So we want to talk about during that independent time, what is a good writer? What does a good writer look like? What does a good writer sound like? What does a good writer do during that time? Okay, so let's talk about what do good writers do? Okay, because it's really important for us to know. What do good writers do? So one thing that good writers do is they stay seated the whole time. Okay, so this basically means that you're not getting up and going to the bathroom. You're not getting up and getting different materials. You have all of your materials already ready, your writer's notebook, your pencil, everything is ready to go as soon as I say we're going to start writing, okay? Another thing is good writers use spaces. This is really important because I know sometimes we like to bunch our words together, but if Miss Chandler bunched all these words together, you're not going to be able to read it. So you got to make sure that the word that you are using spaces, okay? So good writers use spaces. Really big, use spaces. Another thing good writers do is they write neatly, okay? They write neatly on and in the lines, okay? They write neatly in the lines. So good writers write neatly in the lines. So this is super important because if you're writing really sloppy and you're writing all over the place, I'm not going to be able to read it, right? So you have to make sure you're reading in the lines. Good writers also use punctuation, okay? That's a really big one. And we're going to really practice this one throughout third grade. So good writers use punctuation, periods, exclamation marks, question marks. They use quotations, apostrophes, all those kind of stuff. Using punctuation helps me know where the end of your sentence is. If you don't use punctuation, I'm not going to know when you're starting and stopping the sentence. So it's really important that we use punctuation. We also should use capital letters, right? Good writers use capital letters for the start of sentences, for names, important places, and more, okay? Good writers use capital letters. They always use capital letters. It's so, so important that we use capital letters. Another thing good writers do is they edit their own work, okay? So whenever we're doing quick writes, you remember me telling you, I always say, you're never done. You can always reread your story, always reread it. Because a good writer will go back and reread their story and make sure their story makes sense. If your story doesn't make sense, then it's not a good story. You have to make sure it makes sense. Otherwise, it's going to make it really hard for the reader to read it because you're the author right now. You're the writer. So your reader has to be able to understand your story. And if it doesn't make sense because you didn't go back and reread and you didn't edit it, then it's going to make it really hard for them to be able to read it, okay? So it's really important that you edit your writing. Edit your writing, okay? The other thing that's really important is, and I know that we're really not going to be able to do it right now because obviously our word wall is in the classroom, but when we're back in the classroom is actually using that word wall to help guide you through spelling the right words and using the right words and making sure you're coming up with even better words to use, okay? So, use the word wall, okay? But I know we can only do that during class, okay? And then the last one is use your writer's notebook. Always have your writer's notebook with you. That is so important because we always want to make sure we have our writer's notebook, okay? Always have our writer's notebook. Always have your writer's notebook. So this is super, super important. This is what good writers do, okay? This is what good writers do during independent writing time when they are supposed to be writing. So now you are going to go and you're going to do another quick write. I know they're going to be awesome. Make sure you go to the next page for your independent writing time. I have set a quick write. There's a timer. There's everything ready for you. So all you got to do is read the quick write, have your writing journal and a pencil ready, press the timer, press play, and then as soon as you're done writing and the timer goes off, you can go share it with somebody in your house. And then at the end of the week on Friday, you're going to pick the best one, just like we did last week. I hope you all had an awesome time doing writing. And remember, this is what good writers do.